Hello students, good morning. Today we are going to continue the same lesson, the ashes that made the trees bloom. This is the next part of the story. Thus, in an hour, the old couple were made rich. So I hope you understand, students, how the old couple got rich. Last time we had studied this uh, because the dog got a treasure. The good souls bought a piece of land, made a feast for their friends. So, what is a feast? Feast is a grand, dinner or, when you eat different kinds of cuisines. So, it's a feast for their friends and gave plentifully to their poor neighbors. So, they gave plentifully, as much as they could give. Plentifully means as much as they could give, in abundance they could give. As long as for the dog, they petted him till they nearly smothered him with kindness. So the dog was petted and it was smothered with kindness. Now in the same village there lived a wicked old man and his wife, not a bit sensitive and kind, who had always kicked and scolded all dogs whenever any passed their house. So these dogs or whoever passed from their house, they were kicked and scolded because the couple was a wicked couple. It was not a kind couple. So they did not love anybody. They did not have love for anybody. Hearing of their neighbor's good luck, they coaxed the dog into the garden and set before them bits of fish and other dainties, hoping he would find treasure for them. But the dog, being afraid of the cruel pair, would neither eat nor move. So, after hearing that the neighbor had got so much of good luck, they decided to coax the dog. Means they tried to persuade, entice, to attract him, and they gave him many delicious bits of fish and dainties, tasty food. But the dog, being afraid of the cruel pair, would neither eat nor move. Then they dragged him out of doors, taking a spade and hoe with them. No sooner had the dog got near a pine tree growing in the garden than he began to paw and scratch the ground. So the dog got near a pine tree in the garden and he began to scratch the ground. He started a little bit digging the ground as if a mighty treasure lay beneath. So they were imagining that some treasure is being laid beneath the earth. Quick, wife, hand me the spade and hoe, cried the greedy old fool as he danced with joy. Then the covetous old fellow with a spade, covetous means greedy, and the old crone with a hoe began to dig, but there was nothing but a dead kitten, the smell of which made them drop their tools and shut their noses. Furious at the dog, so what happened? Furious at the dog, the old man kicked and beat him to death, and the old woman finished the work by nearly chopping off his head with the sharp hoe. So students, you have understood how the wicked couple was getting greedy. How the wicked couple was getting greedy, and they killed the dog at the end. Then they flung him into the hole and heaped the earth into his carcass. Carcass means the dead body. The owner of the dog heard of the death of his pet and mourning for him as if he had been his own child, went at night under the pine tree. He set up some bamboo tubes in the ground, such as used for tombs in which he put fresh flowers. So, you know what is a tomb, children? What is a tomb? I hope you understand what is a tomb. Tomb is the, you can say, a place where somebody is buried, and then some kind of memorial is set over there. It's a tomb in which he put fresh flowers. So fresh flowers were put on the tomb. Then he laid a cup of water and a tray of food on the grave, and burned several costly sticks of incense. He mourned a great while over his death of the pet, calling him many dear names as if he were alive. So the old couple, they loved the pet, and it was already dead and killed by the wicked couple. So still they loved him, and they were mourning and calling him by names, by his name. That night the spirit of the dog appeared to him in a dream and said, "Cut down the pine tree over my grave and make from it a mortar for your rice pastry and a mill for your bean sauce." So this is how in the picture it's shown that the old man is getting a dream, and the dog is telling that, go to my grave, and where the pine tree is there, just make a mortar of it, and for the rice pastry and a mill for your bean sauce. So okay students, you have understood till here. Let's go further. So the old man chopped down the tree and cut out of the middle of the trunk a section about 2 feet long. With great labor, partly by fire, partly by the chisel, he scraped out a hollow place as big as a small bowl. He then made a long handled hammer of wood such as is used for pounding rice. When New Year's time drew near, he wished to make some rice pastry. When the rice was all boiled, Granny put it into the mortar. So the rice was boiled and it was put in the mortar. The old man filled his hammer to pound the mass into dough, and the blows fell heavy and fast till the pastry was all ready for baking. Suddenly, the whole mass turned into a heap of gold coins. So, students, you understand? The whole mass of pastry turned into gold coins. They changed into gold coins. Instead of rice pastry, it became gold coins. When the old woman took the hand mill and filling it with beans, began to grind, the gold dropped like rain. So the gold coins came out like rain comes. There was a rainfall of gold coins. How beautiful it might be. Meanwhile, the envious neighbor peeped in the window when the boiled beans were being ground. So the envious means he was feeling jealous. He was feeling very bad that the neighbor has got so many gold coins and I have not got, and was weeping inside. And the rice and the boiled beans were being ground over there. "Goody me," cried the old hag as she saw each dripping of sauce turning into yellow gold, until in a few minutes the tub under the mill was full of shining mass of gold. So the old couple were rich again. The next day the stingy and wicked neighbor came and borrowed the mortar and magic mill. They filled one with boiled rice and the other with beans. Then the old man began to pound and the woman to grind. But at the first blow and turn, the pastry and sauce turned into a full mass of worms. Still more angry at this, they chopped the mill into pieces to use as firewood. So the wicked couple found that the the mill was not useful. It was not giving any gold coins. So they chopped it into pieces to use as firewood, to burn as firewood for cooking or something like that. So students, till here today we'll study. I hope you have understood till this part of the lesson. Thank you and have a nice day ahead.